Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Tuesday the 19th of February. So looking at the euro dollar, and well, what did we do yesterday then? It started pitching up, it just could not hold on to its gains and rolled. This morning it's already having a bit of a roll as we're still short of that weekly pivot. We'd like to see that out the way. From there I'll redraw my view. So redraw it, I just sort of from what we saw, I'll go back to that 4-hourly chart. What we've seen here, it looked like it was potentially a bit of a reversal going on. There was some divergences people were looking at here, and it's broken some of those levels which make it more bullish. However, we could be just in for a continuing chop. But when you come down to this hourly picture, there was a, dare I say, Head and Shoulders sitting there, and it's pushed off from there. It's put a lower high in. At the moment it looks weak. It still hasn't touched that weekly pivot. Could do very soon. So that's where my focus is probably on at the moment, is to the downside for a while. Bigger picture, as I said, I guess it's a bit of a line in the sand situation, and if I'm going to draw a line, I'm going to be drawing it across, if I can get a line to draw, let's try again, would be across these highs here. And if we around about there, so if we can see a break of that, maybe the daily pivot may be a safer point. But if it can break that area, well then I'll start looking at it on a more bullish view. I would, as I said, personally I would like to see this weekly pivot taken out first. If you could do that, then it makes it easier to look at any retracement, any reversal signals here to be a buyer. But it's difficult at the moment. We've seen this happen where we see the buying coming in the morning session, pushing up for a while, then it just gives back everything it's made and almost more. So we'll see how it goes. But for now, erring short term on the bullish, bearish side. But as I said, it breaks that line. Well, it confirms more of a bullish phase for me. Okay, let's have a look at the pound, looking from a daily point of view. Still in a downward trend effectively, but again, strong day on Friday, followed by a pretty weakish day yesterday, and a similar picture as we come down the time frames. Yes, it sort of well, had divergences previously, actually pushed lower in this move on Friday. But there was sort of a higher low come through here, and it's argued that this too could be reversing. One thing to bear in mind, there's news out this morning which could affect the pound. There's the average earnings is the key part of the news, but it's the employment data that's coming out this morning. That will be looked on, of course, probably with a bit more of a stronger magnifying glass. You'll see, but if the numbers come out well, perhaps we'll see a push and a help to the upside. Just look coming here, it too is short its weekly pivot. Why do I look at that so much? Because the probability of them being hit, particularly when price is near. At the moment it's taking a bit of a push up here, and it like the euro, well, perhaps it may want to push up this morning and come back in the afternoon, we'll see. But it will see a better picture post 8 o'clock. It's often quite difficult at this time of the day because you get that sort of price action like we saw a couple of days ago, around about the 8 o'clock time back here. In all intents and purposes it looked like it was bearish, but what did it do? Yeah, it was bearish for a short while, and then chopped along and off it ran. Similar picture, what we see, well, I say similar picture yesterday. It sold off looking like it was going to come back for the dailies. Okay, it's from a more bullish state there, so I was really wanting it to come back here, so I could buy it. But well, we'll see. Where we are at the moment is pushing up a bit early, quite strong, as is the euro, so these may break those lines quite early. Just need to watch them post 8 o'clock. If they tend to they've hit the daily pivots, which are the key things today. If they start if they give us retracements, we just need to be a bit wary of maybe buying some of those retracements if they break in the key lines. I'm looking at this the key line on here. Let's just draw it on here as well. I know it's just a trend line, but if I can draw it, it'll be great. Give me a pencil. There we go. But the thing to watch out, of course, I've just drawn it badly, very badly. The key thing to watch out for on this, if I can get on there, that'd be good. There we go. The key thing to watch out is the news later, as I say, on the pound. It could change things significantly. If that average earnings, if those average earnings drop considerably or off the line, we could see the pound tank in the short term at least. Right, okay, dollar yen. Like to say, simpler market. It's not necessarily that simple. You see these little tiny daily bars here. It makes it well, it gives you very little intraday basis to trade. It did pitch back, catch its weekly pivot. It's finding support of that weekly pivot at the moment, and really looking short-term bullish. But look at the day yesterday it had. It's a difficult one to ride there, but maybe it will push upwards further. It in the bigger picture, to me, it still looks like it's trending upwards. If it was to start breaking down, maybe break the I mean, I'm looking at the daily 50 still facing south, etc. But maybe if it breaks that daily 21, I'd have a bit of a different view on things. But at the moment, it really is bullish, if anything. Okay, Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar, well, a bit of a disappointing pairing here. I thought it might have, looking at it at one stage, thought it might have actually had the legs to push through. Yesterday it hasn't, and it just really shows its weakness. Now this could change at the flick of a button, or a nod of an agreement between China and the US. It'll get a better sort of bang from this, but the lack of any sort of move on it at the moment seems to see this sort of weaker movement. It's a break of these lows here may see more of a swing low. The trend line that's running across the lows here, I should say. At the moment, well, it's bearish on the 4-hourly pitch, although higher lows coming through there. But when you start looking down to the hourlies, it looks weak. It's already hit the daily pivot there. This one's taken out. Maybe I'll get a bit more of a bounce for those that want to sell into it, but maybe back towards the pivot there. Maybe the 34 moving average may give opportunities, but really don't like it. Okay, Canadian dollar also in a very difficult picture here, chopping along over the last week or so. It looks like one day it's pushing up and looking bullish, next day it's looking like, well, actually not so bullish, and then it's looking a bit bearish, and at the moment it's sort of on the cusp of neither. It's just in its consolidation phase. Looking at it on the shorter time frames, well, yeah, it may push up a little bit more, but it certainly isn't clear, and for me, for intraday, I'll just leave it. I'm not tempted in any shape or form. Right, okay, so that's where we are with that. As I said, today news-wise, average earnings for the UK, so it's at 9:30. We have the at 10 o'clock. We've got the German ZEW economic sentiment. These bits of news, such as that German data, not normally having bigger moves, but we are seeing a little bit more reaction to some of these news events that may be coloured in orange on Forex Factory, for example. Each bit of news, because we're at this sort of middling point of looking at which one's the worst, not which one's the better. It's a case of looking at each bit of news as it comes out, and well, that could create some volatility for the euro. Okay, have a great one. Bye for now.